Hello and welcome to my review of the entire brand new Seraphon range for Warhammer Age of Sigmar from Games Workshop. Now this is as far back as I can go to try and fit in all of the new miniatures from the Seraphon range. I have picked up every single new miniature at great cost, so I would be ever so grateful if you could support the channel in any way you can, whether that's a like for the video, a subscribe, becoming a member, and even using the Element Games affiliate link where you can save yourself 20% off of all of your Warhammer. Supporting the channel in those ways allows me to cover more and more releases and ups the probability that I can cover more in the future and provide you with daily content and my unbiased opinion, because I'm not sent any of these models and products for free. So supporting through the channel will help the content further. That being said, hope you enjoy this video as I look at all of the new miniatures in the range. We might as well start off with the Seraphon army set, which was released, I unboxed it in April, 30th of April of this year, so quite a few months ago now, about 5 months. Those months have just flown by. It was an excellent army set, one of the best Games Workshop have produced. They're usually very, very good for Warhammer Age of Sigmar. The 40k ones are a bit hit or miss. You know, you might get an old miniature here and there, but with this army set, tremendous amount of value. All the models in that set alone, just the miniatures, would have cost you £170. So you pretty much got £40 worth of miniatures for free, and you know, the special edition battle tome and all the cards and things like that. Would have been nice to get some dice as they've included in other sets like Lumineth, but still, great set overall, and I hope you enjoyed my review. Some very decent units in that set as well. You know, you got the Raptidon Chargers and the Raptidon Hunters, as well as the Slan Starmaster, which is, you know, one of the most expensive kits in the Seraphon range now at £52.50. They followed that release up with a number of other new miniatures, such as the Skink Starseer and the Astrolith Bearer, which I've sneakily, without you noticing, managed to find its box and put it in the top left corner of the screen. I totally forgot that it came in a box, because it's quite a, well, not necessarily a small miniature, but I just completely forgot that it came in a box. Then we also had the spawn of Chotek or Kotek, the box set of the three arguably largest minis in Seraphon. You know, the Croxigor, those big three creatures at the front. Absolutely fantastic kit that. We also had a slight diversion, you know, from Games Workshop with the box art for the Saurus Scar Veteran on Agrodon. They had a bit of a lapse one day, and they just decided to have half of the box red and the other half the actual, you know, picture of the unit. I hope that that's a sign of things to come, that they are welcoming having the picture of the model covering the whole box and not just half the box as red or a different colour. Can you imagine if they did that on the Horus Heresy boxes or 40k boxes? It'd just be awful. So hopefully they've had the lapse and they, you know, continue making decent box art. Speaking of the Scar Veteran, which was a little bit disappointing in my book because of the lack of options, we also had the Agrodon Lancers. 3 of those in the top right. Nice kit, good number of options, everything that you kind of expected them to be for a box set of 3, let's face it, Velociraptors. The Saurus Warriors from the army set, very nice. I've mentioned them and I've reviewed them separately. I reviewed them quite early on, I think, in my reviews of the army set. Shame that the blueprint of those miniatures could not make an extra accessory sprue or something to build some new Saurus Guard. I mean, they're fine in their poses. If they could just include like 5 of them in a box of Saurus Guard with an extra sprue for different weapons and extra armor and things, I'd be happy with that. Unfortunately, they didn't do that. There's no really big dinosaur either, both from Forge World or from Games Workshop, and that's something else I would have liked to have seen. Maybe we'll get something for Old World, who knows. But the standout model for me in this whole army release was just the spawn of Chotek. There's just something that appeals to me about this fire-breathing salamander type creature that fires globs of flaming acid. It just sounds really cool. A close second though are the Agrodon Lancers, because I really like Velociraptors, and the Agrodon Lancers capture the poses extremely well. It has encouraged me to pick up the Vanguard set once Games Workshop stopped releasing, you know, all of Tyranids on one day and 2 Cerastus Knights on one day and crazy things like that. The more breaks we have from releases, the more opportunity collectors and reviewers and unboxers and things can pick up some of the extra products like a Vanguard for Seraphon, like Lord Croak, which I am looking forward to picking up, but after all the other new releases. So looking forward into the army and the collection, these are all of the Seraphon models that I have. It's just all the new releases and the army set. I'd certainly like to pick up the Vanguard set, which would bump up my Saurus Warriors to 20, bump up my Croxigors to 6, and I'd be able to give you a review of Carnosaur. Definitely would like to pick up Lord Croak, even though I haven't got a massive Seraphon army. I still think he's a very cool model. And quite possibly I'd pick up a Stegodon, a Realm Shaper engine, the Starblood Stalkers, and possibly a pack of Ripidactyl Riders and Pterodon Riders. And that would be the whole army, that would be it. I am looking forward to bringing you painting live streams of the Seraphon. I'd like to paint all of them on live stream and not buy any more units until I've completely finished them. I want to go for like a, you know, swampy, tropical kind of base as well for them with lots of nice bright colours. We'll see how that goes, and I hope you enjoy that content. I've talked about my favourite 2 sort of miniatures, and I have to say none of the miniatures that they released have been sort of bad. And I'd normally give you my opinion of which model or product I think is bad. The thing is I can't. None of them, in my opinion, are terribly bad. Although I've got strong opinions about Space Marines and Tyranids and things, with these Seraphon, there aren't any particular models that I thought, oh, that's ghastly, or it's just a pain to build, or, you know, you don't get your money's worth. Even when I forked out 50 odd pounds or so for just 2 miniatures, the Astrolith Bearer and the Starseer, I still felt that I got my money's worth. Because, well, you can see the Astrolith Bearer from here. It's a massive model. That Astrolith is huge. The Starseer, yes, it's small, but there are a lot of options and it was quite fun to build. And I think you can build an extra Starseer walking about with the spare parts. So although some of the new releases are quite pricey, you'll get your money's worth in building them, and even more so in painting them. They're such a fun army, fun, colourful army, and that's what I get with Warhammer Age of Sigmar these days. I get that with Gloomspite, I get that with Soulblight, and I get that with the Seraphon. I'm getting more and more fun out of the hobby through Age of Sigmar than I am with 40k. Admittedly, some of the Tyranid models are pretty nice, but for me at this time, just getting more fun from Age of Sigmar. What do you guys think of the entire Seraphon range? Which is your favourite model out of all of the new releases? And if you don't like Seraphon at all, but you've made it this far into the video, which army out of all of the Order armies would you pick up instead? Thank you so much for joining me on this journey through Seraphon. Thank you for watching. Lord Croak protects.